every one of you. We have two major breaking cases right now that we are covering. The case of Nancy Guthrie, 84-year-old grandmother, ripped out of her bed in the middle of the night from Arizona, and Lynette Hooker, drift out to sea in the Bahamas. Stay tuned as we dive into both of these cases for this morning's 2-hour episode.
Bullhorn Betty rocks.
Coffee steaming, files on the table. We clocking early, hunt what's unstable. Bullhorn Betty on the curb, voice raised. Flip-flop queen with the homemade phrase. Notebook thick, got the screenshots flag. Names in red ink, every rumor, every tag. Late night live stream, screen glow on her face. Truth in her throat, got a lawman's pace. She don't blink when the threats roll through. Come see me, she says, if you think that's cute. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that they gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we get that justice.
Get Nina out of chat.
Insane Asylum, that's our crew nickname. Laugh so loud while we track these names. Whiteboard wild with the webs we spin. Pen to pen, see the pattern sink in. Turmo shaking when the case goes cold. We stir it back up, won't do what we're told. Doorstep question, side eye stare. Where were you that night? We hanging right there. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that they gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we get that justice. This for the faces on the milk cart labels. This for the families praying at tables. This for the names that the news won't say. We say them out loud every single day. Every day. If you're running in the dark, better feel that fear. Betty got a bullhorn right in your ear. Coffee club crazy, but we think so clear. One small town, whole world gonna hear. Hey! Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that the day gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we take red
Well, good morning to my beautifuls. Oh, I forgot to check the volume. Is my volume doing good? I forgot to check the volume this morning. Good morning, everybody. Bullhorn Betty covering two cases. I decided to go with the two cases this morning because we usually split them up into two shows, but because I've got an event, there it is. My volume is down. There we go. I'm glad I checked it. Because I've got an event today and then Laura's, I am going to be at Laura's a lot later than I usually am, so I'm probably not going to come back here for an evening show, which is what we're accustomed to doing on Saturday. I do a morning show, I go over to my best friend's, and then I come back around to 6:30, 7:30, somewhere around there. And we do another show of whatever happened throughout the day. Well, today's going to be pretty busy for me, so I decided to incorporate two shows into one. We're going to be starting off with Nancy Guthrie. I was planning on doing Nancy Guthrie last and then doing Lynette Hooker first, but we have a little bit of information for Nancy Guthrie. As you guys know, Nancy Guthrie, 84-year-old grandmother, ripped out of her bed in the middle of the night, hasn't been seen or heard from since January 31st when her family dropped her off at her home after having games and dinner with them. And then, of course, by February 10th, we see a masked gunman on the outside of her house trying to disable the doorbell camera that was there. It's a Nest doorbell camera. And that doorbell camera was missing when law enforcement got there. Blood outside of the house, blood on the inside door from what we're hearing. Again, a lot of stuff coming from unknown sources. We reported breaking news last night by Nancy Grace. We're going to get into that there was somebody detained, but not so fast because, of course, Chris Nanos, the sheriff that keeps on giving, is saying, nope, don't know what you're talking about. Kind of like what he said when we had the FBI going around, checking to the gun stores. Nope, don't know what you're talking about. Just like whenever we had Savannah Guthrie and her siblings doing the ransom and the FBI assisting them in the ransom, Chris Nana said, nope, that didn't happen. So, I'm just kind of a little curious because I trust Nancy Grace, and I trust that when her producers and her investigators reach out to a law enforcement and they say, we got somebody detained, I believe they got somebody detained, folks. I'm sorry, I just do. So before we jump in, I want to say good morning to everybody. It is so good to be with you guys this beautiful Saturday morning. We get up at the butt crack of morning, so if you're across the pond, come on in. You will get us live. If you are here with Insomniac, guess what? That's okay. Tune in. You're going to get us live. You're going to get us live. Is Nancy Guthrie in Mexico? There's been a lot of discussion about Mexico. A lot of people believe that the Mexican cartel or somebody else might have her. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But I find it interesting that we have somebody from South Tucson that law enforcement doesn't want to identify, doesn't want to acknowledge that they had in their clutches. It makes you wonder, was it required? Did Carlos have to go back down and talk to him? It just really gets the percolator going. But Chris Nano says no. Chris Nano says no. So Melanie, it's nice to see you. Our beautiful Sonia up in the chat. If you guys want to know about Nina, she had some rude comments to make. I will tell you guys, if you are new to this channel, this is not a free-for-all in the chat, okay? I'm Bullhorn Betty. I work my ass off on these cases. It is a privilege to communicate with me. It is a privilege to communicate with the people in my chat that fight every day to find answers. And we will not put up with any disrespect, okay? This is not a free-for-all. This is not everybody gets to come in here and say whatever the hell they want and just be nasty to people. We don't play like that. Okay, so if that's what you want and you wake up first thing in the morning and you are this upset, I would say get right with God, okay? Because that's something that's probably the key ingredient you're missing from your life. If you wake up every single morning and you are just angry, where you have to spit venom at anybody that you don't even know. So we don't play that. She was rude. And again, the rules of this chat are very, very simple. Don't be a Richard. If you can't figure that out, you don't need to be here. Okay, this is a true crime channel where we cover true crime cases. These cases already come with enough drama. Okay, they already come with enough heartbreak. They already come with enough bullshit. Okay, we definitely don't need that from our audience. We need people that want to be here to learn about cases, people that want to share these cases out, people that want to do their part in the world. That's what this channel is for. Anything short of that, we don't want you. Okay, we really don't. We love people. We know that we need people to get these things out, but just trust and believe. When you come to the Bullhorn Betty channel and you're here for a good place, you're not going to be disrespected by some bonehead, okay? So if you guys want to act right, be more than happy to love and have you guys in the chat. Sometimes, and I understand you get the best of them. You guys saw me with Awesome yesterday. I had to apologize to Awesome. I lost my cool for no reason. It wasn't too bad, but, at the end of the day, I was being rude. And I checked my BS at the door and had to apologize publicly, which I have no problem doing. Okay, but one thing you're not going to do is intentionally come in here and be rude to people first thing in the morning. Okay, this is the first show of the day. This sets the tone for a lot of people's day. And we want it to be, somewhat enjoyable. The stories we cover are far from enjoyable. But we want people to have an enjoyable experience on the Bullhorn Betty channel. So we are no longer going to accept boneheads on this channel. If other people want to accept boneheads on their channel and their chat, fine, by all means, more power to them, right? Everybody has a right to do whatever the hell they want to do, but this is my channel. This is how I choose to run my channel. So please, guys, do me a favor. Just be kind and courteous to one another. We all have our own opinions. You know, most of these cases, nobody knows who's right or wrong. So why are you clubbing each other over the head? It's not that serious. We're here for a good reason. We're here to help. That's it. You know, if we can uncover the truth or direct the case in a direction, wonderful. It'd be great. It'd be great. And that's what we want to do. So good morning, everybody. I love people. Okay? Don't ever misunderstand. I love people. I just like to put things into perspective for people, you know, and sometimes people don't like that because I make them feel this big, right? At the end of the day, when it comes to our cases, you know, your feelings mean very little to Bullhorn Betty. Do I care about your feelings? Of course I do. But compared to our cases, okay, well, we have to compare you to our cases. No, your feelings don't matter, okay? Because the people we're talking about don't have feelings anymore, right? So that's the point I'm trying to make. Not that you don't matter, not that your opinions and your feelings don't matter. I just like to put things into perspective for everybody. So it's nice to see you. Anyways, let's move on. I just wanted to give some ground rules here because it seems like a few people come in here and think that they can just willy-nilly be disrespectful. We don't roll like that, okay? This is the Bullhorn Betty channel. Rue, it's nice to see you. Melanie, good morning. Rachel, it's nice to see you. Good morning, good morning. Our beautiful Eeyore Blues. Big Mac Mike up in the chat. Rachel, it's nice to see you. YouTuber is here. It's nice to see you, Nanny Goat. Hello, hello. Momo up in the chat, It's nice to see you. Good morning. This Nana Praise. Hello, my love. Good morning. Tuning in from Las Vegas. You are up early, girl. You are up early. But most of us are. Look at me, full with hair done, makeup done, dressed. And this is all before. You got to remember, I still had to design the thumbnail. I designed the thumbnail. And then I'm like, I got to do both. So this right here, I put both of my thumbnails into, was it Google Gemini, I think is what I used. I put all these things into Google Gemini. And guess what it did? I said, please, merge these two thumbnails together. Because I was going to do 2 shows. I'm like, I can't do 2 shows today. And so I'm like, crap, I just spent like 2 hours designing thumbnails. And so I stuck it into Gemini. I said, can you please incorporate, I can't even remember what my statement was to Gemini. Do I have Gemini still up? I don't. But it was something like, can you please merge these 2 thumbnails together? And this is what they created. They created this. These weren't the two thumbnails. Let me show you the 2 thumbnails that we created. One I didn't create. One I created, one I didn't create. Let me show you. Hold on here. Let me pull these up. I don't know. I find it somewhat therapeutic. I find it somewhat therapeutic to do thumbnails. I don't know why. I kind of like, I feel like it's artsy thingy. I feel like it's an artsy thingy. So here you go. So there's thumbnail 1. This is one that I didn't make. I ended up, it created such a great thumbnail. Usually I don't get great thumbnails from AI. They don't do the faces like I want them to do. And I found a better way of doing it. But I just don't do them anymore because it takes too much time. And so now I create my own, like this one here, I created. I take a background, like this is their true soulmate ship. I put that in there. I put her in there. I kind of fade her out. I put splashes behind her face. You know, I bring him in. I do different filters. So this is one I did. I didn't do the print, though. This print I didn't do. I put the little red and the white behind the print, but I didn't do the print, because I can't get this aged print, so I have to create aged print on AI. So I don't get the aged print stuff unless I spend a lot of time on Canva to create it, and that's taking a lot of little black spray paints and really going in here and fixing it's too convoluted. I'm not doing it. I have a program that'll do my print and stuff like that. So this right here was one of the thumbnails. This right here was the other thumbnail, and it incorporated both of these into this thumbnail. So I love AI. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I love AI. So let's go ahead and dive right on into Miss Nancy Guthrie. This is the one that really does have, people talking, so to speak. So last night I reported a breaking news report from Nancy Grace. Okay, Nancy Grace was on. I did it from Office 2. If you guys are new to the show, Office 2 means I'm in my bedroom. Okay, Office 3 is out in the living room kitchen. So this is the main office right here. This is the studio. Okay, Office 2 right across the street. Office 3 down the road. Okay, so we got a little community of offices here. All right, so get with the offices. You got to know which one we're in just in case you need to mail us something. I'm just saying. So anyways, Nancy Grace broke something, and I was waiting for nobody watched this, I guess. You know, I just watched to see what she's going to talk about to see if it's something I'm interested in, right? And so she started right out with the bombshell information, so I was hooked. And by the time it went off to, David being arrested, I was like, I'm out of here, chick, right? Because I'm not really into David and Celeste. I think it's a sad case. We might talk about it. We did talk about it here and there, but it's not really my case. It's not a case that I'm really very interested in. I feel very sad about it. But one thing I don't do is I do very little entertainment news on this channel. Why? Because I think people that are in movies and people that are musicians, I think they're whacked. Okay, I think these people are mentally unstable. I think most of them are psychopaths. And they're just problems. They're not people I idolize. A lot of people idolize these people. I don't idolize them. I think they're crackpots. I really do. So, so as soon as David and Celeste come on, I'm out. I mean, we will cover it a little bit, but until we know what's really going on, I'm not covering the case. It's just not my cup of tea. If you guys want to see it, I'm sure there's 1,000 other people covering it. So, Rue, it's nice to see you. Vicky, good morning. Good morning. It's nice to see you. I hope you guys are doing well. Bombastic, good morning. Da Boss, well, where the hell have you been hiding? I'm just saying. Strawberry Nani, it's nice to see you. Brown Eye Girl, she's probably like, I've been here. You just haven't said hi to me in a while. I've been coming late. And I probably haven't. I probably wouldn't know. Oh, sort of Morta, where the heck have you been? No, I'm just joking. Cinderella, Laura, it's nice to see it. Just popped up on me, so I figured I'd just keep going. Who else do we have? I think I said hi to everybody so far. If I missed you, I am super, super sorry. Phil from across the pond. Danielle, it's nice to see you. Robert, good morning. It's nice to see you, love. Green Teas, it's nice to see you. Hope everybody's doing well. Allie, good morning. Who else do I have? Rose, good morning. It's nice to see you, love bug. Hot damn, Dan. Anja dining. Use a damp, wet tea bag, Betty. For what? What did I miss? I must have been talking about something and somebody's giving me some advice and I forgot about it. It's early in the morning. I'm drinking coffee, but I ain't, you know what I'm saying? Jaylene, it's nice to see you. Welcome. I hope you're doing well. Strawberry Nani, we got you. Hello, Betty fan. Did you sleep? You're usually not up with us this early morning. Bubble, it's nice to see you. Momo, Starflower, good morning, guys. It's nice to see you. I think we got the whole damn mod squad here. I think the only people that we're missing this morning, well, no, I guess the real Me Too might not be here. I don't think I said hi to her. The real Me Too and Pebbles must be sleeping, which they deserve. But I'm surprised to see B. Betty. I'm surprised. I usually see Sonia. Sonia's an insomniac. She doesn't sleep. Bubble Earthman, good morning. I wanted to say your name. I hope you're doing well. So let's go ahead and start rolling into this. So last night, I think it was like 7:30, I start rolling with breaking news. Suspect detained. We've been seeing and monitoring Miss Savannah Guthrie on the Today Show. We know that something's going on. I mean, no matter how you look at this, we know that something has to be going on. We've watched her since she started, went back. She went back, what was it, April 4th? I think she's been back a couple weeks. Was it April 4th, April 6th? April something, right? Let me look at my phone. It was a Monday. I remember her going back on a Monday. April 6th. Okay, so she comes back April 6th. So she went through all last week. She was on the air all week. And she was on the air Monday and Tuesday without a hitch. So on April 15th, which is tax day, they had Anne Hathaway on. As you guys know, Anne Hathaway is a huge name, right? Anne Hathaway has a huge name, a huge following. She's very, very well known, widely known across this world, not even in the United States. Like, she ain't Bullhorn Betty, right? She's like, well. Like, I might have a little something, but not like this lady here. She is known literally around the world. We have some people here from around the world, but very few. If she walked into Australia, she would have a freaking entourage, right? If Betty walked to Australia, I'd still be alone. I'm just saying. Okay, everybody knows Anne Hathaway. So when we saw her start the interview in this, I mean, she looked good that day. She looked like she was. People talked about her outfit being a librarian. She had these big glasses on and her hair up. She looked nice. She looked nice, and she's interviewing Anne Hathaway. And then all of a sudden they break to a commercial. We come back and Hoda is sitting in the chair, and everybody's kind of, whispering at this point. And then of course we do a live the next day on Thursday, the 16th, and people come up here on the show and they're like, oh my gosh, she left. What was going on? So we looked into it, like stopped the, what we were doing and looked right on into what we learned about Savannah's movements, and that was on Thursday. We didn't hear or see her. I didn't pay attention whether she came back to the studio on Thursday or not. But by Friday, she was gone. She never came. She left. She wasn't in the studio at all. And so they were blowing it off like, oh, she's going to have some, with everything going on and da-da-da-da. They had this statement like she's going to be here and there, we're going to still have, she's going to be flexible with her time is what I think the words that were used, flexible. And then we hear about the DNA hair, which I believe was a distraction because wherever she's going, she left the studio. She hasn't been seen since. She might have been seen on Thursday. Again, I didn't pay attention to the Thursday show, but by Friday, I did get reports that she didn't go to work. So what happened Friday? And then by Friday night, we're finding out from Nancy Grace that there's somebody detained. But Chris Nanos, the sheriff of Pima County Sheriff, is saying, not so fast. So let's hear what we reported last night. Should be about 30. There we go.
First to Tucson, straight out to crime stories, investigative reporter Dave Mack reports in the late night hours that a person south of Tucson had been detained for...
He's been doing investigative research for a very long time, Dave Mack. Okay, I mean, I think Nancy Grace and him have worked together. I don't know how long, but I feel like he's been around for a really, really long time, right? So I trust this team. Now, do they get things wrong sometimes? Yeah, but not very often. Not very often, and I even said that last night. Hey, Mimi Mouse, good morning. I hope you're doing well. Good morning.
Night hours that a person south of Tucson had been detained for questioning. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that the same general area where someone was detained before? Several weeks ago, nearly at the get-go, and everyone was so happy that maybe the case had been resolved, and then it turned out the person was released. In fact, in that case, the SWAT team rolled out for one of the first times since Nancy Guthrie went missing, and they were poised also near...
Nancy Grace is referring to Carlos. Carlos was the first detainee. Luke Daly was the second detainee.
By a hostage.
I believe, though, she's referring to Carlos. I think Carlos was South Tucson because he was in Rio Rico. That's who I think she's referring to when she says, didn't we have somebody else detained? I think she's referring to the Carlos gentleman that was detained in Rio Rico that was, released fairly quickly. But again, another South Tucson individual. So let's go back. So I think somebody's talking. They met with somebody. I don't believe that that nobody was, they don't pull these stories out of their butt, okay? Something's going on. So
Nancy Guthrie went missing, and they were poised also nearby a hostage negotiator, we were told, but it all fizzled out. What do you know?
Nancy, that is exactly what happened. And it appears that we're right back in that same general area as we had been before. And now we're being led to the trough, a possible suspect. There's possible new information, but
a possible suspect, possible new information. Dave Mack's not going to make this story up. Okay, he doesn't need to make this story up. They've got enough on their show for today to fill up the whole segment. They don't need to create news. So I have a tendency to believe something happened that Nanos is not wanting us to know about. So let's keep going.
Pima County not jumping in, nobody providing us with a lot of information
right
on this,
there.
Nancy, other than what we're putting together by saying.
They're not giving them in a whole lot of information. So either they're not the one conducting this interview and it's the FBI, or they're slow walking this and not wanting the information out. Maybe it's a witness, not a detainee. Maybe the information got crossed somehow and they can't have this person's name out there because they're actually a witness divulging who may have done this. I don't know. But nobody, it seems like, has been charged. And Chris Nanos is now saying, nope.
Saying, hey, they're in the same general area that we've already been once before. And remember, Nancy, you mentioned that was a big undertaking that last time with the SWAT team, a negotiator. They had law enforcement had a plan that they were putting into action, and it ended up being nothing. Now we're 2 months down the road, and a lot more information has come in. We're getting some DNA evidence back, and now back in the same place. So
I find it different. I find it interesting. Chris Nanos, we're about to get to his statement. We're not going to go any. I just wanted you guys to hear the statement. If you guys were here with me last night, you already heard the statement. But there was, we had breaking news that there was suspects detained or a suspect detained from South Tucson. That's what we're hearing. That's what Dave Mack is reporting, South Tucson. So when Mike Ruiz reached out to Pima County Sheriff and asked him, do they have anybody detained? He tells Mike Ruiz, nope, doesn't elaborate, doesn't say anything, just says 4 letters in one sentence, nope, period. And that was all that was provided related to this detainee thing. So I wanted to make sure that we followed this case through because I think it's very, very important that we follow this case through. I'm not here trying to, mislead my audience. We want to see everything, but we also want to be reporting breaking news. So do we have a detainee? I have a tendency to believe, Nancy, because let's face it, we trust Chris Nanos. And we did a poll just yesterday on whether my audience, my personal audience, the people that you see in my chat, believe Mr. Nanos when he speaks. And I can tell you 90%, what was it? Yeah, I think it was a cool 90% or more. Does not believe Chris Nanos. So when Chris Nanos gives us information, nobody believes him. Okay? That's just the reality of it. Nobody believes him. It's not that we're not listening. It's just that he's told us so many things that he has walked back that it's making it very difficult. So my mods are saying that we've got some new people. So if you guys are here for your first time to the Bullhorn Betty channel, please put a 1 or a hand wave in the chat so everybody can say hi to you. The people in the blue are my mods. The people in the green are our members. And everybody else in the white is just the coffee club. We create a coffee club or coffee club. We meet every morning. We meet over coffee or whatever your favorite beverage is. Not everybody drinks coffee in the chat, but we are the coffee club and we are the insane asylum. So if you haven't already subbed up or signed up to this channel, please consider doing so. And this is your family, so make sure you guys say hi to each other every morning and chit chat and get to know each other and whatever. A lot of people here love true crime, and you, at least no matter who you speak to in our chat, you're around somebody that has the same palate as you do. So good morning, everybody, and thank you all for joining here. And if you guys would like, please hit that thumbs up button. If you are on the replay crew, consider hyping this live for your girl Bets as we break these cases down. So according to Michael Ruiz, he says that Sheriff Nano's one-word reply when asked about the new reports that another person of interest has been detained in the Nancy Guthrie case, and he says nope. So this is the only 11 a.m. in Portugal. Oh, Joey, you're from Portugal. Well, welcome. Thank you guys. Good morning. It's wonderful to have you. Typically we do have some people all over the world for our show because we are one of the earliest true crime content creator shows on the YouTube platform in America. And it's because it's just I'm an early riser. I've always been an early riser. And this gives me an opportunity to really meet people around the world because of our time. You know, we're usually up hours before anybody else is up. And if you notice, like when it's nighttime here, it's daytime somewhere across the world. So they're able to watch us live. So it's been nice. It's been nice. So Portugal is so beautiful. Oh, I bet. I wish you'd send me some photos. bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I love seeing new places. I love seeing new places. 2 months on vacation. Oh, well, love it. Rachel from Australia. It's always nice to have people from Australia. Good morning. I learned a lot when I first came on this platform years ago. I stumbled across these guys, and they were up late. Well, I was up late. Obviously, you guys are on the other side of the world, but I was up late, and I ended up catching this live, and I went in there, and you could tell that they had the Australian accent, and they were talking, so I was in there, and they're like, oh, Bullhorn Betty, and I'm like, hey. And so we were talking about, firearms and stuff like that, and they were they're banned. That's my band. This is the first time I ever knew, because I don't, you'd think I'd be like more worldly and understand I don't. So that was the first time I realized that Australia has not, you guys can't have firearms. I'm like, so I was sitting there talking, I'm like, really? So we had this intriguing conversation. This was like 5.5 years ago, and they welcomed me in. So I'm definitely a lover of Australia. I've always wanted to see Sydney. Sydney is a beautiful place. I got some bucket list items, even though I don't have my passport. I do have some bucket list items. Another place, I never thought about Portugal though, but I have thought, like New Zealand. New Zealand is a big one for me. I heard New Zealand is just a beautiful, gorgeous, piece of land, New Zealand. So I don't know. I know there's some really beautiful places in this world that I hope maybe one day I'll have the kahunas to get the passport and go visit, So those that do travel, like you in Portugal, Joey, I'm glad that you guys get to Portugal food is great. I don't think I've ever had Portugal food, in all honesty, but that sounds amazing. Switzerland, Bombastic's talking about Switzerland. I think Switzerland's another one that I've liked. Ollie's, good morning. Yeah, beautiful, just beautiful. You guys need if you guys are out of the country, send me some beautiful photos. It's the only time I can live vicariously through each and every one of you. But you guys don't send me enough photos. We need photos. So anyways, are we looking at somebody being detained? What if they were crossed? Maybe Chris Nanos is playing it safe. Maybe this person really wasn't detained. What if they came in to be a witness? I don't know. I'm still trying to decipher how we feel about this, but Chris Nanos was truthful when he said about the DNA. This was nothing new. We did learn very quickly that, in fact, the hair was gathered. We heard on Nancy Grace that it was gathered, weeks after Pima County Sheriff investigated the house or did their forensics. The FBI came in and did some other additional testing and found the hair. That's what we're hearing, and we're hearing that it was found in her bedroom. But I'm still very unclear because I'm getting mixed messages from two very well-known reporters. So on one hand, on Nancy Grace, I'm hearing that this the hair was found weeks after, when the FBI did their personal investigation of the house. And then we heard, which is shocking to me because, again, forensics, I'm looking at forensics and I'm thinking, okay, they knew she was in bed. Why isn't all of her sheets and blankets and pillows? Why aren't all those taken into evidence? Like I said, when we saw what was coming out of that house for evidence, it just seemed too light for me. But we could be wrong. The hair they may have taken the bedding, and maybe that's how they found the hair of the dog. From what I'm hearing, the dog hasn't been in the house for a very, very, very long time. There should be no hair, and the fact that she has people that come and clean her house and change her bed regularly, I can't imagine a hair being in her bed. I mean, she looks like she, her bed is her sheets and blankets are probably replaced every week or every other week, like every normal family. It really depends on the palate of the family. Sometimes they change their bedding every week. Sometimes they change it every 2 weeks. I can't remember what rotation my mom was on when I was growing up, but I can tell you personally, I don't go out and get dirty and stuff. I change my bedding every 2 weeks. Some people are like, I do it every week. Okay, well, you can do it every week. I do it mine every 2 weeks. So it just really depends. So I change my bedding twice a month. Okay, so it just depends on who you are as your bedding and stuff like that. Now, if I had hands in the house, like if I had a caretaker for my house and somebody else was doing the laundry, I'd want my bed changed every week. I will be honest with you. Okay, so we're not here to do anything but be honest with our audience. Okay, so somebody like Whispering Wind says every Saturday. She's an every Saturday person. I probably would be an every Saturday person too if I had somebody doing my laundry and folding it for me. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I don't enjoy necessarily doing chores. I didn't necessarily like doing chores when I was a kid. Okay. That hasn't changed too much as an adult. I have to adult. I get it. It's not right to not adult. So I adult. I just don't adult very well. Okay. Just saying. And if you don't adult well, we don't blame you here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Okay. Birds of a feather and all. I'm just saying. We also got Rod from across the pond. Posted this. So I got this. I didn't even realize you guys, it sounds so stupid. I didn't even realize you guys have Australian news, that you guys have ABC News in Australia. I would think that, Australian news or ABC News is worldwide. I don't know why I don't know that. I don't know why I think that you guys don't get ABC News. I don't know why I'm so ignorant of the brain that I just can't think past it. But apparently you guys get ABC over there in Australia. So I got some Australian news here from the ABC side of things. And here's a story that they've published for Australia. And it says, it was meant to be a night like any other, eating, laughing, with the company of family, in the company of family, rather. On January 31st, Nancy Guthrie visited her daughter, Annie, and played games with her at her house before she was driven home by her son-in-law, Tommaso Cioni. He watched from his car. I don't think so. I heard he took her in the house. But according to this one, he watched from her car as she walked into the garage and safely entered her house in the Catalina Foothills neighborhood of Tucson, Arizona, police told the New York Times. It was one of those everyday occurrences that would not have been at all that memorable had it not been for the last time anyone saw or heard from Nancy Guthrie. Not long after she dropped off and entered her property, the 84-year-old disappeared. We know she didn't just walk out of there, Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos later said in a press conference. She didn't leave on her own. Family members grew concerned when families told Nancy failed to show up. Family members grew concerned when friends told them Nancy failed to show up at their virtual Sunday church service the next morning and reported her missing that afternoon. She was taken and we don't know where, Nancy's daughter, Savannah, said in a video update last week. This is much. The story of the missing mother spread quickly online, particularly in the corners of the internet with an unquenchable appetite for true crime. Savannah Guthrie is the co-anchor of one of the highest-rated morning television shows in the United States. She is beamed into America's living room every morning, and her fame has fueled the nation's obsession with her mother's disappearance. But the very nature of it and many mysteries that remain have also ratcheted up the interest in the case and has now been open for almost 2 weeks. Now, as you can see, this is an older news article. Thousands of public tips have poured in, providing all levels of law enforcement with leads to chase down. We heard something like 50,000 leads were brought, and I think at this time, 2 weeks in, we were up to 10 or plus thousand leads. Like, they had a lot. And there is a U.S. $100,000, which is, of course, their money, $141,000. Whatever your dollars are in Arizona. It sounds like Arizona, Australia. Sorry. Reward for information, desperate pleas from her family to her alleged kidnappers in a new grainy video that might unlock it all. The small county sheriff's department called the Federal Bureau of Investigations, and the U.S. President Donald Trump has weighed in, typically remarks, we could have some answers coming up very soon. And this is kind of where we are right now. This is why I went ahead and brought this article, because we forgot about this. What does this mean? If you guys remember, President was on Air Force One, and he comes out, cameras are there, and he's giving an update, and he says we could have some answers coming up very soon. And this was weeks after Savannah's mom disappeared. And then we have, I think this was before the raid of Luke. Then we had the raid of Luke, and everything kind of quieted down. But Luke was a federal warrant. I don't know. Before it being to be a kidnapping, the case of the missing rather vital. But for it to be a kidnapping, this case is missing something rather vital. And I think this is important too, because everybody has been thinking that this is a kidnapping. We've kind of maintained on this show, at least for me, I haven't really thought this was a kidnapping. I have not really thought that this was a ransom. I thought that this was something different. To target a famous family, violently seize their matriarch, and hold her hostage, a perpetrator would be expected to also issue a clear demand for what they want in exchange for her release and exactly how to deliver it. This was always missing. We've heard the ransom, we heard the money, but, to show that there was proof of life, to show exactly how the exchange is going to be made, to go through all of the processes of investigating and getting clear, defined instructions. This is where they fell short, which is pretty interesting, because they worked so hard to make sure that when they went in this house, they were able to get this woman out undetected without leaving very much forensic evidence, right? And they were able to successfully do that with we're going on the first quarter, and we are kind of none the wiser of what happened here, other than what we're hearing is unbelievable to many of us. So I think it's very interesting to understand what we are exactly dealing with here. And so far, we've got nothing. They've provided us nothing. We've got nothing. Is there another detained person? Is it one of the previously detained people? I don't know. But this case, not doing too well. Not doing too well aging-wise, not doing too well with what we've learned from law enforcement, not doing too well at all. They're just not doing too well. And we keep going back to where the heck could this woman be? How could she be transported out of that community and nobody know? This is not happening during rush hour traffic. This is happening at night, in the middle of the night. How many people could possibly be moving about in this community at that time? Yeah, we expect people to be moving. It's a huge community. There are going to be people that work at the local hospital, that work the graveyard shift at some packing companies or whatever other, industrial jobs or medical jobs are out there. People are CNAs and are required to stay the night at folks' houses. So, we do have bodies and vehicles moving around all hours of the night, but they're limited. There's not as many. So how are we not able to track down every single car in that community that was moving around and about that night? And why are we having to guess what kind of vehicle they're looking for? We believe it was a gray SUV. Nancy Grace finally confirmed that she believes that they're looking for a gray SUV, but what do we know? What do we know? We don't know a whole heck of a lot when it comes to her case. Is this, but I'm hoping that something big is about to break because, again, Savannah's schedule this week has been unusual. The ending of her week has been very unusual, with her not being even at her job on Friday, right when we're hearing Nancy Grace release that there is a potential person detained in connection with the Nancy Guthrie case. So which is it? Do we have somebody detained? Do we not? I don't know. I guess we're going to find out maybe tonight when Nancy Grace decides to do an update and follows up. I'm pretty sure she is going to, especially if the sheriff is calling her a liar, I'm pretty sure she is going to address it one way or another. At least I would hope. J.E., it's nice to see you. Janet, hello. Dan, popcorn juror, it's nice to see you. I hope you guys are all doing well. Good morning. Come on in. I'm surprised we have 452 people up before 7 a.m. on Saturday. I can tell you, we are the lame people. All right? When we don't have people, hungover and drunk or half drunk in our chat. We know we're the losers of the group. We're not the party animals. All of us, Saturday morning, we're up at the butt crack of noon. It's not even light outside of the house right now, is it? I don't see any light. I think the light's just now starting to peek up on the outside of the windows. We're the lamos. You guys know it. You know our 20-year-old selves would beat us up, okay? They'd beat us up and throw us in the garbage can. Come on, you know it. We're an embarrassment to our 20-year-old selves. We're just an embarrassment. I really would. Because you gotta remember, I was rough when I was 20 years old. I'd have beat myself up. If I ran into Bullhorn Betty, my 46-year-old Bullhorn Betty, I would have beat her up and threw her in the garbage can. I can't believe she's embarrassing me like this. Good gracious. All right, guys. So that's all I really have on Nancy Guthrie. So now we're going to kind of go over here to what is going on with Lynette Hooker and everything like that. I think it's very important. We're going to spend the rest of the I got some other things to come up to talk about, but because of our time and everything, we're already 50 minutes into this. So I really want to bring you back to what we learned with Ashley Banfield. Ashley Banfield is out there in the Bahamas. She's, trying to make heads or tails of what's going on. I've tried to ask her questions through YouTube. Hopefully her producers or her answers them. Or I don't really need them to answer me. I just need them to, to look into it. So I've been watching Ashley, since she was there. I watched her use the charter captain, go out, find the soulmate. They were out in the water. They could see how close other boats were. There's a mooring that the boat is hooked to the mooring. That's like a permanent chain in the water that does not move, and you can dock your, like hook your boat up to it. It's like an anchor. It's like a really, really good anchor. So you want to hook to the mooring ball, and then that'll help you. You won't have to worry about your boat drifting or anything like that. It will stay put. So she was out there, and we've got a few conversations with the boat captain related to the conditions of the water. Was the conditions what Brian said that they were? And according to this man, he does not believe that the conditions, he believes the conditions that Brian spoke about were, exaggerated. That, it wasn't as bad as he proclaims it was, especially on the bay side where their dinghy and everything else was. However, this guy here has been here for a while. He is part of their fire and rescue. He had specific interactions specifically with Brian Hooker after his wife disappeared. And so you can tell that he's kind of middle of the road when it comes to Brian's statements. He's trying to be very fair and give a perspective. I'm not sure this is necessary. I'm from the legal mind, and I know that there's going to be a court hearing, and, by him speaking here, when he goes to court, this is going to hold him into a particular statement. So it's like, it's good. Like I'm just a little different because I'm looking at the angle of, what's going to happen when we go to trial, and he is a direct witness. So I get nervous. I'm not going to lie to you. I get nervous. Hello, awesome. It's nice to see you. Still detained or released, and did they name them? No, awesome. As a matter of fact, we just went over it. So you're just coming in. No, they never named the person. Chris Nanos is saying the story doesn't exist, which I don't believe. And because Dave Mack's been doing this a long time, and he tried to get them to answer. They wouldn't answer him. They went ahead and went with the story. And then Chris Nanos won't elaborate, except Mike Ruiz reached out to him and said, is this true about the detainee? And he did not elaborate. He just said, nope, N-O-P-E. So I said, well, I don't think Nancy Grace is lying. I don't think Dave Mack, a very, very esteemed investigator. I'm sorry, he's an investigative journalist, but he's a very, very, very good investigative journalist. And so Dave Mack is the one that did this, the one that found this. He's the one that was reaching out to Chris Nanos. Chris Nanos and Pima County wouldn't answer him. They ran the story. Then all he says is nope. He won't answer anything. He just says nope. It was a nope. Yep, Chris gave one word answer. Nope. That's it. Nano says nope. I don't believe him. So I was wondering, is he possibly telling the truth? Because, or not, because we got to remember the man didn't know that the FBI was helping Savannah Guthrie do the ransom videos. He didn't know that the FBI was at the gun stores, passing around pictures, asking questions. He literally knew nothing. And then I started thinking, is this an interview maybe the FBI's doing that he has no knowledge of? Because maybe he's at the gym, maybe he's too busy driving his Corvette, 90 miles an hour in a 40 mile an hour zone. I'm not sure. Maybe he's just soggy in the head because he's going through all the recall stuff. Or maybe, just maybe, the person isn't a detainee and maybe it's a witness. So I feel like there is something here. I don't see Dave Mack, of all people, just pulling this story out of his butt and running with it. I mean, there has to be some meat on the bone, okay? We've been watching Dave Mack for decades. So we know his pedigree. Just like we know Nancy Grace's pedigree. So I feel like if Chris is saying no and it's going to ultimately be no, then there's some other reason why this person is there. But I do believe there is a person there for the Nancy Guthrie case. I just don't know what. So I'm hoping that we get some clarification from Miss Grace later this afternoon when she drops her live for her crime online. But until that happens, we don't know. I was happy to see the Misha Grande. I don't know. Pete. He was pretty matter-of-factly, just like he described. Brian Nanos doesn't check his email in years. Oh, wow. So maybe he doesn't have any information. maybe he hasn't gotten the email yet that they... I don't know. Where has Nano been through all... I don't know. Good question. He's been hiding. He's been dealing with a lot of political pressure. I can tell you that. The type of political pressure is enough to take your breath away. I mean, he's under the gun, absolutely under the gun when it comes to this. So, anyways, getting back to the Hooker. So this is the fire and rescue guy that saw Brian Hooker that morning. At 4 a.m. was the one that came out, was the one that had to help him bring the dinghy back to shore, helped him do this, helped him do that, had direct conversation directly with Brian. So I found everything he says very interesting. This is Ashley Banfield. I was hoping that she had some other stuff, but I know that when you're on the road and especially out in places and especially going from internet Wi-Fi from the hotels and motels and stuff suck. So it takes you forever to upload the videos. It takes you forever to edit the videos. It takes you forever to download the videos again. It takes you forever to upload them to your sources, whether it be Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. It just takes forever. So I think that's the reason why we're not getting all of the videos that we would be getting from Ashley Banfield, is because it just takes time, right? Pete is a Michigander from Kalamazoo or Kazoo area. Yeah, I don't know who Pete is, though. I mean, I get that, but I don't... if I saw his face, I could probably tell you if I listened to what he had to say. Brian said he wasn't leaving until... I know. And then all of a sudden his mother's... Well, we kind of knew that he was going to get out of Dodge as quickly as possible, because this is just a telltale sign. I mean, it was expected. I mean, we believe he did this. We believe he harmed her. And of course, we're going to be able to identify his behavior because we know he's a criminal at this point and he's exhibiting everything that we're going to be saying that he's exhibiting. We already knew that he's most likely, when he gets out of jail, what did we say? He's probably not even going to be searching for her. He's probably going to take the next flight out and get back to the United States of America, because everybody that's guilty of a crime, they want to get the hell away from somebody being able to come and board and just put cuffs on them. If he's back in the United States, it's another level of, crap that they have to go to before he's shipped back. And so I can see the strategy here. As soon as he was released from jail, I knew he was going to be taking a flight. Didn't matter what his excuse was. We knew an excuse was coming. And then all of a sudden his mom's sick. And it seems so convenient, right? You got a missing wife and your mom's been sick for a really long time. Who are you going to focus on? You're going to be focusing on your missing wife. Why? Because your mom's been sick for a really long time. His dad had 2 strokes and he never bothered going into his bedside. Why all of a sudden is this so important? Especially in light of your wife of 25 years potentially being shark bait. I'm sorry, you're going to be there waiting for your wife to come out, trying to find out what's going on with your wife, and staying on the phone every single minute with your mom. That's how that works. But no, we knew. But again, he's displaying and exhibiting the type of behavior that we expect from somebody that hurt their spouse, right? He's exhibiting. So everything that we're seeing here is not surprising for me, because we truly believe he's responsible. So he's going to exhibit all these red flags that we're accustomed to seeing in these cases, because, it fits the bill. He's going to act like a criminal because he's most likely a criminal, right?
Let's start. Take me back to that morning and how the morning was for you. What happened?
I'll be right back, guys.
We received the initial call came into Hopetown Volunteer Fire and Rescue at 5:12 a.m. I personally didn't get out there until later on in the morning, but 5 of our members got on the fire and rescue boat almost immediately and went and liaised with the local police where the dinghy was over in Marsh Harbor. And I caught up with them a couple hours later with another member of the department on his private boat, and we canvassed the area south of where the dinghy was found in an effort to try and, just see what we could see out there. We didn't find anything the first day we were out there. We understood the basic facts of what he told the police when he first made contact with them, which was where she'd gone overboard, what time that was roughly, when he made it to land, and that he had lost an oar in the process.
He said he lost an oar?
That's what he told the police.
Yeah.
Said that he had at some point anchored his dinghy, fired a flare.
Single flare or fired multiple flares? What was he clear about it?
Wasn't clear about that.
Okay. But said he fired something.
That was what we understood again, and this was the information.
You know this area. You know boating. You know mariners. If someone fires a flare at 8:00 at night, it's dark here.
Now I want you guys to remember he's kind of middle of the road. Okay, he is fire and rescue. He's part of the government, so he's got to be careful with what he says, But the flare thing, we're going to be getting into that. We're going to be getting in that. Shot 2 flares and fired none. But he does actually speak of having, there was a spent flare in the boat. So when did that spent, and what does that mean? Did he use that on her? Anyways, just saying, there was a spent flare that they said was in the dinghy. But I have a problem with this because remember he said one of the oars broke? Remember that? When they got to the dinghy, you're going to hear there was only one oar there. Where's the broken oar? I don't think they have the broken oar. He's just missing an oar and saying it's broke. Where is this other oar? But I think this is in another 20 minutes when he starts talking about the oar. But you're going to listen to him here. He's going to explain, because you can see that he's not answering the question that Ashley wants him to answer. So she fishes, okay? Oh my God, you said you were going to tone back. Use allegedly, omit more. No, I'm not going to use allegedly. No, I'm not going to use allegedly. For FFF. Watch your language. I have this button. No, I'm not going to backtrack it. No, I'm not using allegedly. Because because in all fairness, he's exhibiting all the behaviors that a criminal, exhibits. I mean, this is exactly what Chris and Katie Proudfoot did. They ran away, except for them. You know what they did? They're missing a 15-year-old boy at the time. You know what they did? They threw blankets and a can of tuna out the front door. A freaking tuna out the front door like he's a freaking cat. And left and took off out of state while we were searching for their son. Look at Jacqueline and Trezell West. They're in jail right now for second-degree homicide, and that's only because they couldn't find their son's bodies, their adopted son's bodies. Guess where they found him? They were in an RV fleeing when they finally pulled them over. Fleeing. So, I'm sorry, amazing. Or amazing. Awesome. Sorry about that. Sorry, awesome. But, when they exhibit the behaviors, we call it out. We see these behaviors often. This is not our first rodeo. We talk criminal. We see criminal. And guess what? No matter what defense attorneys say, criminals act alike. And guess what? Real people that are mourning their children or their loved ones act alike. That's one thing that we go, even though they try to go up there with their defense attorney and say, everybody grieves differently. Well, you know what? In our experience here, when a mother loses their child, they act pretty much the same way. Every last one of them. That's better than what you called me yesterday. I don't think I said the whole, I don't think I said the pre-hole, I don't think I said the pre-hole.
L-I-A-R, you a liar.
All right, come on, Bobs. Give me something.
I'm excited.
Give me something I can use.
I'm the Sasquatch Kid! No, wait, Burger Butt! No! Beef Squatch! You are a badass.
All right, quit pushing buttons. Quit pushing buttons, buddy. All right, so middle of the road, he's going to start saying, there's a possibility here.
Would everybody see it and know, oh my God, there's a flare?
You would think, it's not impossible that it would go unnoticed. We have to obviously be most concerned with.
It's not impossible. Do you guys hear that? It's not impossible for it to go unnoticed. He's being careful and he's not looking at the camera. They're kind of all over the place. Are they drinking alcohol out there? Are they drinking alcohol? Did you have one of those what do they call it with the orange juice and the champagne? What is that called? Mimosa? Are you guys drinking mimosas out there? I heard you guys just had breakfast.
With the facts, and it's not probable, but it is possible that he fired a flare. And
it's not probable. Now, guys, remember what we always learn on here. What do we say? Anything is possible, but not anything is probable. So anything is possible, but the probability of it being possible, that's where you start getting into whether it's true or not, okay? He's saying that for somebody to put a flare up, it could go unnoticed. But not very. I don't see how it happens here. It just doesn't seem probable. It seems like if you shoot a flare up in a boating community, people are going to take notice to a flare on a Saturday night at 7:30. Just saying. People are up and about on a Saturday night at 7:30.
There was just nobody there to see it, but I would say it's pretty unlikely.
Saturday
Unlikely.
It's busy, right? The anchorages are busy.
And if we did, if somebody sees a flare, word gets around and fire and rescue is notified, and we were not notified that night of any flares being set off.
I think about, I've spent a lot of time on boats, and sunset is one of the nicest and busiest times to be out on the back of your boat.
See, he looks like he's drinking something. He's probably drinking some sweet tea. He probably just drinking some sweet tea. I don't think that's a, cranberry and vodka. But who knows? Who knows? It might be some cranberry and vodka. Too darn early in the morning. But, on the back, I can tell you all the years that I've been a boater, I don't think I've ever had to use a flare. All the years my dad has been on I remember one time we were out in the middle of the frickin' water and my dad's boat died. And I remember my mom, we had to paddle over to a bridge and my mom had to slowly drop a battery down to the boat. I remember a lot of things on the boat. Don't get me wrong. I have a memory a mile long of all of the things, including my daddy taking me out in a canoe, a wonky canoe that almost went over, and all I saw was alligator eyes for miles. I'm like, get me the hell out of here. All boaters are drinkers. Not everybody. Most people. I would say most people. When I was boating a lot, I was out there on the water. It's hard not to kick it back. But I'm a Coca-Cola drinker, so I'm going to be caffeinated. I'm not going to be falling over. But I don't think out of all the times, I don't recall. We've been in some pickles. I don't recall ever seeing a flare go up from our boat. I don't recall ever shooting a flare off. I know for a fact I've never shot a flare off. And if my dad's ever shot a flare off, it would have been, I would have been so young I couldn't remember it, because I remember everything. I don't know why I have been gifted with a memory. I can remember back when I probably shouldn't remember in my life. I can remember back almost before I could walk, of some things, because I've talked to my mom about some things, and she's like, how do you remember that? I'm like, I don't. I just remember this, and this. And she's like, you weren't even 18 months old. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, whatever. I remember it. So, I don't remember flares. Could he shot a flare at her? That's what I'm kind of thinking. Because we've got a flare shot. We've got a missing oar. We've got them drinking and drunk all day. But here's a kicker, and this is what I keep reaching out to Ashley Banfield about, and I haven't gotten an answer in a couple days. Not like they're paying attention to Bullhorn Betty. I was just hoping that maybe, possibly, they're monitoring their comments. And I got no way of getting a hold of Ashley Banfield to ask her, because she's out there, and one thing I'm noticing her saying is everybody's talking about this case, but nobody's actually talking about seeing these people. You guys get it? We're hearing that they were at the Firefly, where they're at right now. But nobody can remember them. When she was at the bar yesterday, when she was getting off her boat with the captain, and she saw the police there at the dock, and she brings us in to where they were last seen, that one Abaco Inn. She walked through. On the one side, you had the 2 and 3 foot surf from the Atlantic, but then she turns to the bay side. You can clearly see the bay is nice and calm, not like the Atlantic side. And she gets there, and one of the bartenders acknowledges seeing the husband. But still, nobody has seen this woman. So, I hear us talking about the statements that we've received from law enforcement, which is basically reiterating what Brian told them. Are we absolutely positive she was there? It seems like nobody has seen these people. But these people were like there, but it doesn't even seem like they were talking to people around them. Like nobody can really identify either one of these people. And they were allegedly there all day. I can promise you, if Bullhorn Betty is in a bar somewhere drinking, I'm sorry, people are going to remember Bullhorn Betty was in a bar drinking. Okay? When I drink, I want to talk to the people next to me. I want to laugh. I want to have some music. I want to dance. I want to let loose. I don't understand this. Now, mind you guys know I don't drink. So this is not my cup of tea. I'm not going to be bar hopping, right? But, it's not like I haven't drank. Oh, look who it is. Good morning, Annette. Good morning. They are confirmed to be there at the end. That you're going to have to send that to me, Awesome, because there's no confirmation. The only confirmation we have about the inn, this is exactly it. And I bet you as soon as I say it, you're going to remember that I'm accurate about this. What they said about the inn is that Brian, not Lynette, Brian went to the bartender twice to get Bacardi Light. Let me make sure I got this right. Did I put it in here? No, wrong one. Yeah. 2 cocktails. A couple of hours. And this is on Ashley Banfield. This is on 4/16/2026. And her statements were that Brian went to the bar. Pete confirms it. Who's Pete? Who's Pete? Pete who? Pete confirms. Is this guy's name Pete? Is this, are you saying he confirms it later in here? Because that's not what I got. I heard that they went to the bartender. He ordered 2 Bacardi Lights for him and his wife, but he was without a shirt and he kept profusely apologizing for for not being in a shirt. He went up there twice. It was around dinner time when they got there. They were only there at the Abaco Inn for 2 hours, about 2 hours. He's on screen. Yes. Okay. So that's him. So maybe we need to listen further. Okay. Because what I've got is that they were on screen. And is he saying that based on what Brian told him? Because you got to understand, he's going to be repeating a lot of the things that Brian says. It's not that he's confirming this to be true. He's repeating what Brian told him. Now, we will get there. We're going to play this whole thing at least until 8:30, which I need to start moving because I've got to be picked up. I've got an event today that I have to be out in Mayaca for Carol Ann Feltz. So 2 cocktails, went up to the bartender, apologized for not wearing a shirt, but nobody saw. She asked people at that Abaco Inn, and nobody saw the wife. And that was the first time that I started asking about, was the wife really even there? Because we saw, she even talked about having cameras walking all the way up there. So they should have her on camera walking up. Why haven't they released that to show us what she was wearing? They should have evidence that she walked up to the Abaco Inn with Brian. And if she did, they need to release something so the people and the public knows what she was wearing, how high she is, what she looks like that day when she disappeared. We've got none of that from law enforcement. So let's keep going. So apparently, according to Awesome, this is Pete. And Pete is explaining this. Again, I'm going to try to let him speak more than me because we're kind of on a crunch time. I've got about another hour that I can spend on this, and then I've got to cut. I've got to go.
Not inside the cabin, not noticing if there's something in the sky. Would that be accurate to say a lot of people on a Saturday night would be out on their boats on the anchorage, and
for sure there would have been a good few people around
that could have seen a flare? Yeah, but no one reported a flare anywhere.
Not to our knowledge, no.
No flare.
Tell me what your experience was when you first encountered Brian.
Another member of the department and I, so this is Monday morning. Sunday was the initial day of searching. And Monday morning after that, we had spoken with the local police and told them that we were going to go and retrieve the dinghy. So another member of the department and I went over in his personal boat, and his boat was a little bit smaller. It could get into this small places. And we went over there, located the dinghy, and, I pulled up, kind of jumped off in waist deep water and went over.
So you're hearing where the dinghy is. Now, this is where it's closer to the Marsh Harbor spot. But what we've learned is that this whole area, this Abacos Inn, which is really interesting because, in all fairness, it sounds like you could pretty much walk this almost all the way over to the Marsh Harbor, that it's shallow, that there's very limited, that a lot of places are up chest deep, but you could just walk through it. It seems really drawn out that he would paddle for 8 hours when he could have just got out of the boat and walked in many of the areas to get extra time. It's weird. So he gets the dinghy. He brings it back. He goes into talking about how this dinghy is, very light, whatever. Okay, let me just get some more.
You could tell it had been fired.
Correct.
Oh, there it is. There's the
in the boat. There was a spent flare. I only noticed one
flare gun. And you could tell it had been fired.
Correct. There were 2 PFDs, 2 orange life jackets that were there.
On the bottom of the floor of the dinghy?
Just on the floor of the dinghy. And
did they look old or waterlogged, or that they wouldn't be useful? They were only there for legal purposes. Like, is there any chance
doesn't
they
really
were
matter?
useless?
I would never wear one.
Probably not.
Just to let you know.
They just looked like every other orange life jacket I've ever seen in anyone's boat around here. Mm-hmm. But it the anchor was tied around a tree on the beach, which we untied, put everything on the boat, and
This is kind of a rough landing, right? As I understand it, where he beached up, it was rocky. And
Yeah, it's rocky. It's not easy to traverse the terrain around there for sure.
So it sounds like he came into a rocky side. He traversed the terrain. It took him about an hour to traverse the terrain. From what I'm hearing, half hour, something like that, to even get to the security officer. He could have paddled it around or walked around, but he chose to go through the worst of the worst.
There's no, immediate roads, paths, stuff like that. It was pretty rugged.
So for him to get from the landing spot where he says he washed up on shore to the boatyard, how tough is that? Because he said he'd gone through some ramble and it was difficult.
It wouldn't be an easy walk for sure. Okay. It would take you a little while. It's not just like a walking path and a 5-minute walk to somebody. It would have been a trek. And not easy, especially in the middle of the night.
Would it have taken, say, 10 minutes or an hour?
You got to put yourself in someone's position there and assume that, you don't know exactly where you're going. So it could have feasibly taken him an hour to get.
So feasibly taken him an hour to get there, but he probably had a good idea where he was going. The guy is being very conservative with his answers. As you can see, he's really playing middle of the road here. He's not trying to look at Brian with a lens of deception or anything. He's just, speaking about his personal experiences. Could this happen? It's possible it could happen, but not probable. So he is making sure we have both sides of the coin. But at the end of the day, he still is a professional. He still knows that these things most likely don't add up. And he's not willing to lie about them, but he's not willing to just say, oh, this guy's lying. He's explaining himself. I think he's doing a great job. Not really a fan of the middle of the road. I still believe he's being too overly conservative here instead of speaking freely. But I, again, understand why, because he works for the, the rescue outfit. He's there. He had direct contact with this guy. He most likely will be a witness at some point in a trial. So I think he has to be, or be very cognizant of what he's saying. Has anyone spent any time on finding this couple they befriended? No, I have not. It definitely, somebody needs to come in.
From where he landed to actually make contact with somebody.
Okay.
4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, nobody's around,
And it's dark.
Yeah.
And the sun comes up around 6?
It could have happened, yeah.
Okay. We're trying to account for the 9 hours. He said she went overboard at 7:30 and he didn't wash up on Marsh Harbor till 4 a.m. Captain, of course, we're at a restaurant, so it's a little bit noisy. You can hear some of the people dining above us. But the captain I was talking to said he swam that distance in 2 hours in a race once. It's a long distance. It's 4 miles.
It's entirely possible. Again,
but you think it would take 9 hours to float? Let's cut 1 hour off for the getting through the bramble and all the rest. So 7.5, 8 hours to float all that way in a wind.
The fact of the matter is with a chain of poor decisions, it could have taken somebody that long. Not likely, but not impossible. If just drifting with the wind, that I'm estimating would have taken 3 or 4 hours.
3 or 4 hours. About half the time that he says it took.
Yeah. So again, his account of the situation was that he threw the anchor out for a while, stopped, fired some flares, was trying to catch a passing boat. That's, again, his in my mind, and again, this is not any police or official capacity, but given the timeline that he gave, not probable, not something that we would typically see, but it's not impossible.
Impossible.
If he did what he said he did and anchored for a while and was trying to flag boats and do all of that, and then finally gave up and decided just to drift and make.
I don't believe that for a variety of reasons. Who wouldn't have swam back 1,000 feet to their boat? Who wouldn't have swam 1,000 feet back to their boat? And again, he's being very conservative, very gracious, because he doesn't want to accuse anybody. Nobody does, right? That's what what we do. That's what the court of public opinion does, not what search and rescue guys do. So, oops, I didn't mean to hit something. What did I hit?
Took the helm.
Were we back the far in already? I feel like I just reset this back to some place we shouldn't have been. Let's see where we are.
From me, I jumped back into my colleague's boat, and
is that where we were just at? It just reset, and I don't know where we are at. I feel like we were there. We were. I didn't think we were that far ahead.
The timeline that he gave, not probable, not
probable.
Something that we would typically see, but it's not impossible.
Like, not
if he
impossible.
If he did what he said he did, and
okay, so we heard that, so we're there.
What was his demeanor when you encountered him?
Well, we went to pick up the dinghy that Monday morning.
She is.
To him, pulled up alongside his boat.
Her mother describes her as an excellent athlete and swimmer. There's no, listen, people that are from water, that have been around water, especially in this Abacos area. Now, mind you, they've been here for a long while. Okay, this is nothing new to this area. That Atlantic coast is always been choppy. That bay, the Abacos Sea, that area there has always been a bay, like a very calm area. Do they get squalls here and there? Yes, they do, but very, very rarely. And again, even if it knocks you overboard and she lost her keys, she just have to dive straight down. It's not that deep. It's not that deep, folks. In some of those areas, she could have just stood up and walked. She didn't even need to swim. Okay, so I just want to make sure that we understand the area here. It is not a deep area. In some of the areas that she could have been in were shallow enough, again, that she could just stand up and walk. So I'm having a hard time with all of this because we've learned that. I've looked at the topography of this area, and you can literally see the bottom of the water. Then we go out with the Ashley Banfield gets the charter. The captain goes out and he explains the same things that we had already talked about on this show, because we were looking at the map and looking at the topography and saw the sandbar, right? We talked about the sandbar, and I'm like, guys, this is pretty stinking shallow water here. I mean, we're not talking about hugely deeply water. And I'm not from here. I kept telling you guys that. And then we get this captain that says the same damn thing. This water is not. And then you get this guy saying we had to get a different boat to go in here because of how shallow the water is. So you're getting a theme here. Yes, there was some water here, but is it so deep that you can't walk or you have to drown? She's a great swimmer, a great athlete. It's probably not the first time she's been overboard on a boat. Okay, I can tell you there's been many a times that I've went out on boats, not all the time, but there's been many a times over the years that, my childhood, we lived on a boat just about every weekend. There's been times I've gone over boats, multiple times. There's been times I've intentionally gone over boats. I've dived off of the front of the boat or the back of the boat or whatever it is to go swimming, So the water is not going to kill you unless you don't know how to swim. And again, if she was shark bait, there's going to be major evidence of shark bait in crystal clear water. Okay, because you got to look at how sharks eat. They don't take you all in one sitting. Even fish, that's how they do it. When you go to an aquarium and you watch them feed, what do you see them do? They get this thing and they just all start, right? It's like little hammers. So you're not being taken in all one, bite. So there's going to be evidence of you being attacked by a shark. There's going to be a body out there that has shark marks all over it. right? Because again, sharks don't like you. They don't want you. Yeah, they think you're a fish. Yeah, they'll bite. They can't see very well. They don't know what they hear the movement. They smell the blood. They go towards you. They bite. You're like black licorice to them. They don't like it. They spit you out. They've killed you, but they spit you out because they don't like you. They don't want to eat you. Okay? They want fish. They want something good, something tasty to them. You're not tasty. Okay? You're like liver. Okay? They're wanting filet mignon. Filet mignon is the tuna fish, okay? Not the human fish, okay? Just saying.
It was just gratitude was the first thing. He was very happy that we had, showed up, that we went and brought him his dinghy, so that he could get around. He said he was looking forward to, he wanted to pull the anchor so that he could get his boat back to Marsh Harbor. He said he had some friends and family that were arriving that were going to help him with the search. So we were happy to. So
family and friends are arriving to help him with search. So why did he never get out there to search? Why didn't his family ever get out there to search? Sounds like he had friends and family coming in to see him. Yet none of his friends or family thought it was a good idea while they were visiting to go out there and help him look for the love of his life, this beautiful woman right here. Nobody? Very interesting. And then he's arrested and detained, and all he wants to do is get out there and look for his beautiful wife. And then as soon as he's out, the very next day, he's taking a flight away from here. Man, talk about how forgettable his wife is after 25 years. He forgets he even has one.
To help him out. I helped him get his dinghy on board, and he was just very grateful. Seemed stoic, and not overly emotional.
Did he seem? I mean, listen, it's hard. Everyone's different. Did he seem like the kind of guy who just lost his wife at sea?
If he never searched, Betty, don't say that. We don't know that.
Honestly, hate to. Yeah.
I actually do know that because he was out there. He couldn't go anywhere. This is what we found out. I know that for a fact. Somebody approached him on his sailboat on the Soulmate and said, "I'm here to help you search." And he sent them away. There was nothing that they could do. He would not search with them. So he sent those boaters away. We have that on record, right? So, no, he never did search, and then he got arrested, and then he tells everybody he's going to go out there. He needs to search for his wife. He needs to get out of jail so he can search for his wife. And then he finally gets out of jail. He says he's going to start searching for his wife, and then boom, next thing we know, he's on a plane getting the hell out of Dodge. Never searching for his wife. He never searched for his wife. You know how I know he never searched for his wife? Because typically people that commit these types of crimes, they like the appearance of wanting to search or wanting to act like they're helpful, just not actually being helpful. It's the Proudfoot dynamic, right? That's exactly what they did. They always wanted to say, please, help, come search, come hand out flyers. But the minute you come out there to hand out flyers or search, they're trying to get you thrown in jail, So I'm sorry. We're not going there yet. We're not going there yet. I believe that this guy is behaving exactly the way a subject acts when they've committed homicide. He's acting exactly the way our other suspects have acted. We can't look past that. Do I know that he's done this or not? No, I don't know. Do I have a suspicion? Yeah, and so does law enforcement. So does her family. So does everybody that knows these people. This guy has acted weird. He refused to help. Even when people went to his boat to help search, he turned them away. We get the tea around here, folks. We get the tea.
Everyone is different. He's from what I could see from his tattoos, was an ex-Marine.
He had USMC tattooed on his on his shoulder.
So that was one of the things that kind of led me to believe he was just a little bit more, all business, stoic. I've been around a lot of sailors, living here for 10 years, and he was just very matter of factual. We need to do this, and then we need to do this, and I need to get out of here, and I need to go and pick up my family and continue the search. So that was it. I didn't we were both grew up in Michigan, or I grew up in Michigan anyway. Had a little bit of small talk about being from Michigan.
You connected.
But that was it.
Connected about Kalamazoo?
Yeah, exactly. So.
Oh, okay. So this is the guy. This is what you were talking about, Kalamazoo. Okay. Gotcha.
That was about the extent of the small talk. Everything else was just business. I helped him get his boat off anchor.
It was something that
so he pulled up the wind.
It was something that Ashley Banfield reported on whenever she was out on the water with the captain guy. She said that she was talking to him about it, and a boater had reached out to her to explain or something like that, but it was on the one where she was with the boat captain. You might have to go back and review that, but she was talking about that, and she says, oh, there was some boater that went up there to try to get, to come to help, and he was turned away by Brian. So it was a statement that she knew about because the person had spoken to her since she had been there, in the Bahamas. So she tells this, it's just a brief story about it. I think it was like a minute, maybe a minute or less, where she explained it. But it was the one where she had the boat captain. They were around the soulmate. And I think it was while they were sitting right in front of the soulmate is when she was talking about this other boat, coming up to help him search. And he says, there's not much we can do. It was something like that. I'll find it. It's not going to be today, but maybe tomorrow we'll go ahead and find it and play it for you, or at least search for it. So at least search for it. We'll come back and search for it. Hey, Raw Beanie, it's nice to see you, love. I hope you're doing well. Don't tell Betty what to say on her own show. You must be new. Yeah, I know. They don't know the rules yet. They don't know the rules. I'm trying to be nice, folks. I'm trying. So hard for Betty to be nice. I have a pop mouth, and it's being controlled.
Got the anchor up, and
you went to the beached dinghy at Marsh Harbor.
Correct.
Hooked it up and towed it across back to here, Elbow Key, where Soulmate was anchored.
Correct.
And he was in the boat with you guys.
He was in his boat. We didn't take him with us. So
you didn't take him. So he came back in the dinghy.
So
no, he was in his soulmate. How did he get to the soulmate?
So.
How did you all get back from the beached dinghy at Marsh Harbor back to here at Elbow Key?
We took a private boat over there. Another member of the department and I took a boat over there, hooked up to his dinghy, towed his dinghy back to Soulmate, which is where Brian was at the time. So he was already on the boat.
Someone else brought him back over to Soulmate?
Correct.
Oh.
And tell me what it was like when you were towing the dinghy back.
So he just left the dinghy there and had somebody take him back to the Soulmate and just was sitting on the Soulmate with no transportation unless he decided to swim. But it doesn't seem like he knows how to swim since he likes to paddle. Just saying! Just saying.
Because I think you've got a really good description of what that dinghy was like.
I tell you what, it was, I wouldn't want that thing. It was light. If you've ever towed
this is
a...
where, I don't want to go through all that.
It was a small light dinghy to begin with. So, that's not...
We also found out that it was parked at Pat's Bay, Aunt Pat's Bay.
Again, tough to say in the conditions, but it certainly wasn't a rugged, stable boat to start off with. So, again, I'm want to reiterate, I'm mostly concerned with the facts and trying to give every bit of the benefit of the doubt, but.
Better guy than me.
It's not impossible that somebody can fall out of that thing. Right?
It's not impossible. I believe the possibility. I've never disputed that. Could somebody fall out of the dinghy? I want to be very clear. I absolutely believe somebody could have fallen out of that dinghy. It's never been about whether somebody could fall out the dinghy or not. Somebody could fall out of a freaking boat. Okay, that mast can come over and knock you slap out into the water, right? The problem is it wasn't a life-threatening situation. That's the point I'm making. Who gives a rat's ass if somebody falls over in the water? People fall over in the water when they're boating all the time. Okay? It's whether they're going to just drown because they fell in the water or somehow the salt water is going to melt them. Like this woman has been completely melted like an M&M. She hit the water and nobody saw her again. So that's the problem that's not making sense here. If she was in the water, they would have found her. This water is so crystal clear out there. They should see her floating. They should even see that if there's a cooler resting on the bottom of the ocean with chains on it, or somebody floating with a brick. I mean, that's how clear the water is. Anything short of her being in a seagrass field, tall seagrass field that's like 9 feet tall, anything short of that, that's the only place that she could possibly be in that water. If she hasn't been found, what you're probably going to find is that she's probably resting up under mangroves or something hidden. Because I'm looking around that whole entire area. Where could she be? Why is she not in the water? And if she's not in the water, where could she be? Well, there's a few little ponds and islands that aren't quite in the ocean or bay that she could be in that I saw. But that's not a path of least resistance. He's on a boat. He's got a dinghy. He's only limited to certain areas he can take that dinghy or Lynette. So if we were to look at it from that lens, from the lens of him being this mastermind, this criminal, this murderer, and we have to find the place where he could have put her, I'm looking at land. I'm looking at mangroves. I'm looking at things that he can put her under and get her attached and bogged down. And when you're looking out there, those are the places that I see optimal for what he's going to need to hide her. But then there's the other caveat of the paddleboard, right? Not the paddleboard, excuse me, the oar. And the oar is not just broken. We don't even know if it's broken, right? We're taking his word for it. We don't know if that oar is broken. What we have is a missing oar. We don't have a broken oar right now. It might be broken. But we have an entire oar that is missing in its entirety. This man says that there is no oar. There was only one oar on that dinghy. That's it. There's no second oar. There's no broken oar. There's only one oar on that dinghy. So if it did break, and he did throw it out in the water, why isn't it there near the green life flotation device that was thrown out? They found the green flotation device. Where's the oar? The oar should have floated. The oar should be on the water. The oar will not sink. If you got oars that are sinking, you got the wrong type of product. Right? So where's the other oar? The oar is missing.
Right. That was my impression that if it caught the right wind, it would be a little bit unstable.
Do you remember the winds on Saturday night, April 4th, around 7:30?
I don't, to be honest with you. There was a few other members of the department that were out that night, just out and about. And, they commented on the direction and the force of the wind, that it was kind of substantial. And I know, it had been windy all week. A lot of people wanting to go fishing that couldn't, that kind of thing.
So it had been windy all week, but it wasn't preventing people from being out on the water. It wasn't preventing people from going and doing activities, but it was preventing people from going out and going fishing. But people that live on these islands, they still have to move about. They still have to go to the grocery store like we do. They still have to go island hopping to get their weekend stuff done.
So, but I personally don't remember the exact conditions that night.
From what I understand, captain we've been working with was out that night, said it was about an 18-knot wind. And of course, you're in the lee side. On this side of Elbow Key, it can be screaming over on the other side, but it's nice and protected here. An 18-knot wind, what would it be like just outside that channel at Abaco Inn?
Honestly, it would still probably be about an 18-knot wind. There's, that inlet right there at White Sound, there's not a whole lot of elevation to cut down that wind. So that comes up and then goes right back down again. So by the time you're all the way at the end of the channel, there's that wind's not getting cut too much, to be honest.
So the dinghy was light, like a sail, almost like an inner tube as we see them bouncing in the wind behind a boat, not very stable. A wind with even 400, 350 pounds on it. Still, you think that could be a plausible story that She just bounced off.
Again, not likely, but
Not
possible.
likely.
It could happen.
It
Tell me
could
about-
happen, but not likely.
In my opinion.
In your opinion, yeah. Well, it's important because you're from here. You know the winds. You know the boating lifestyle. You're a boater yourself. You fire and rescue.
I live here. I'm not from here.
I live here. I'm not from here. Yeah, he looks like he's United States, and that's not United States. So who knows?
Live here.
I'm not a local.
I
Let me
think
make
after
that very
10
clear.
years, you can say you're from here.
not
I don't know
exactly.
I don't know how long it takes for you to actually be officially from here, but you know a thing or
In
two.
order to be officially from there, Ashley, you got to be from there, okay? I'm from Manatee County, Florida. Why am I from Manatee County, Florida? Because they pushed me out of my mama's hoo-hoo here, okay? You don't get any more from Bradenton than you are when you deal with Bullhorn Betty. I was born 10 minutes that way, okay? 46 years ago, I was born. 46 years ago, I was born. 10 minutes that way. Okay, I'm from here. Okay, there ain't nobody that can come here and even live here for 40 freaking years and tell me that they are from here. No, you're not. Where were you born? I was born in Michigan. All right, well then you're from Michigan, honey. You ain't from here. Yes, Michigan native. Me, Pete, and Brian, and Lynn. There you go. There you go.
No more than I do, that's for sure. Okay, so when you got back to Brian's boat with the inflatable, well, with the dinghy.
All right, Sonia, go get a cold shower. I had it.
Help him hoist the boat up onto.
I gotta tell you, there was this unit. You know, they had the cutest, gorgeousest black dog I've ever seen in the world. So I kind of understand where your pity patter went. And that dog, it was so damn cute that I almost had to go take a cold shower. So I'm just gonna say, Sonia, you know, go get a cold shower. This so unprofessional. I'm just joking. I'm joking. You're fine. That dog
Soulmate,
was really cute, though.
Clipped into the dinghy, hoisted it up, gave him his oar back, which he put on Soulmate on his boat.
Gave him his
It's
oar
back.
back.
It's now on the sailboat. It's on the keel boat.
Correct.
The oar that was in the bottom of the dinghy is now back on the keel boat.
Mm-hmm. And
So again, guys, we have an oar that's missing. He's saying the oar is broken, but where's the broken oar? Because usually you don't litter. If you're an island person, if you're a boat person, you don't litter. So that means if you broke an oar, you typically take it back to your boat. You don't throw it over in the water. Okay? People that are on the water appreciate and take care of the water. Just like we appreciate and take care of the land because we live on the land. We can't stand litter on our land, right? People on the water have that same type of mentality. They don't want trash on their water. So where is this broken oar? Remember, it broke that day. So you should not have this oar any other place but either on the Soulmate or on their dinghy. And he's saying there is no oar on the dinghy. There's only one oar on the dinghy. So where is the second oar? I'm not willing to acknowledge or take Brian's story that the oar was broken. I want to see the oar. I want to see the broken oar. Where did he put this broken oar? If it broke that day and it's not on the boat and it's not in the dinghy, then where is this broken oar? Did he throw it on the land? If so, where? So where is this other oar? Maybe we'll find out they did find the broken oar on the boat. We just are not privy to that information yet. Maybe that explains everything. But right now, when you have a broken oar, I know people that boat, they're not throwing that trash over into the water. So they're going to take it to a garbage can. What garbage can? Everything on this island, we should see him walking with this broken oar to a garbage can. We should see him walking with Lynette. We have heard zero people. We've heard zero people acknowledge seeing Lynette this day. I have to point that out. I'm hoping she was out that day. I'm hoping this, but when I heard Ashley say that Brian went to the bartender and he was just profusely apologizing, making sure he was noticeable to this bartender. When I started hearing this antics, it started making me really doubt, or at least think that there is a possibility that the whole thing is a setup to alibi him for the entire day, that maybe something could have happened on the 3rd, and he's creating an alibi for the entire day. So I just like to have somebody, an eyewitness, saying, I saw her. Remember, like with Summer Wells, this is a great example. Many people did not believe that Summer Wells was at the waterhole. They thought something may have happened to her beforehand, right? But our team was able to go to the stables and speak to the people at the stables, and the people at the stables told us that they saw the Summer Wells mom's pickup truck, and they saw Summer Wells physically playing in the water. Okay? So because we had their statement, and their statement coincides with the statement that Summer Wells was at that water hole, we knew for a fact that day, June 15th, she was alive. She was at that water hole. But there for a while, until we had that confirmation that she was at the water hole, many people were starting to speculate that Summer Wells had been injured or unalived before that day, before the water hole, and that the water hole was just a way to set up the alibi. Well, we confirmed that she truly was there. She was alive. Summer Wells was truly alive on June 15th and observed by third parties. Right now, we're dealing with a situation where we're hearing a story. We've got Ashley Banfield out there confirming all these steps of the stories. And so far, out of this Firefly place where she's at right now, and the Abaco Inn where she was yesterday or the day before yesterday, we're finding out that nobody saw Lynette. They're passing around that she was in a black swimsuit, but nobody that Ashley Banfield has specifically spoken with can identify ever seeing Lynette. And that's what's making me say, let's make sure that we have a Lynette on the 4th at these bars. Let's be sure, because this is starting to concern me. I would expect that the bartender remembers Brian coming up and getting 2 orders of Bacardi Light. She remembers that. But she doesn't remember Lynette? She remembers the husband, but not the wife? That is a little too much for me. So I think that we need to confirm. I'm sure that she was with him. I'm hoping that she was with him. But I think we need to confirm that somebody saw her. Some third party saw her on the 4th. As long as we have somebody that says, yeah, she was out with her husband, I saw her, I spoke to her, then, we know for a fact. But I just hate... With the information that we have currently on this case, I hate assuming that what Brian is telling us is true. I'd like to know it's true, right? I want to make sure that this whole day wasn't one big alibi setup. Because because listen, folks, if she died on the 3rd or the 2nd and not the 4th, then he would have had even more time to hide her. And this means he could be completely out in international waters, not even in this area. So we're looking for her in this area. And she might be 100 nautical miles away. Because he had time to take her all the way out there to drop her. Right? So his boat would have recorded these trips. It's going to be hard for him to completely go black, off the radar during this time. And I do believe, I think there is enough here, but it just took me off guard when Ashley Banfield has not been able to find one person that saw Lynette that day, like physically saw her. And that's my biggest concern is I just want to make sure that she is on a recording. And I think that it would be prudent for law enforcement to release at least a clip of her from those footage while they were bar hopping. I think that would be really, really good for everybody, just to see what she looks like, just to see what she was wearing. and how she walks, I think would be very beneficial to the public in helping identify where she could be, or if they come across any items on the beach. You know, if she was attacked by a shark, maybe there may only be a bathing suit bottom or a flip-flop that is floating. And we need to know what type of shoes she was wearing, if any. Was she wearing a cover over her bathing suit? Did she have jean shorts on, a tank top? Like, what was she wearing? These are critical information that we still don't even know. Out of all of the day tour that Brian Hooker took with the media, not one time did he ever express what she was wearing or what she went in the water wearing. That is super important. What was she wearing? Does anybody know? Have you heard? Look at the missing person flyer. What is it saying on there? Does it say she was wearing flip-flops, a bathing suit? Was she butt naked? You know? I just like to know. If she's not inland, she's in the Atlantic, in my opinion. She's somewhere. She's somewhere. He didn't have time to get rid of the body. He didn't have time to choppy. He might have, depending on where it was. He could have turned her in fish, but it would have been so obvious. You would never be able to clean that stuff up. So I'm envisioning an entire, person going with him to some place, whether it's deep, chained up, weighted down in the water, or whether it is dug with the oar, because that's what he had on the boat to use. And, he's military, so you use what you can use to get the job done. And, that oar was used to dig up a hole, I mean, we just don't know. We just know she's gone. The story doesn't make sense. The whole purpose of him going across the Abaco Sea and that channel to get help doesn't make sense, because there was all that help and people and phones and medical services right there 1,000 feet away from where she went over the boat. It just doesn't make sense why you would trek 9 hours away when you could have just swam 1,000 feet away and got help. It doesn't make sense, and that's where we're at here. And so when you have decisions like this from people that should never make decisions like this, you have to ask why. It is a telltale sign. It is a red flag for sure, whether people want to acknowledge we've been doing this for a long time, and I can tell you, criminals act the same and innocent people act the same. I don't care what a damn defense attorney tells you.
And that was it. As I said, there wasn't a ton of small talk. It was just,
you hoisted the dinghy up
onto his
He's
his
now
boat.
free. He was arrested. He's now free.
I was at the helm. I helped him keep the boat facing into the wind while he used the windlass to get the anchor up. He got the anchor up, got the anchor secured, came back, took the helm from me. I jumped back into my colleague's boat and wished him all the best. And he said he was going to, potentially reach out to try and get somebody else that had a boat that could help him and his friends and family continue the search.
And like I said, we just learned somebody did come out there with a boat, and he turned them away.
I mentioned that to you.
Yes.
And did he ever reach out to you?
He did.
And what did he say?
He was interested in either renting a boat or hiring a boat with the captain. I gave him the names of a couple people around here, and that was about the end of it.
Did he?
So he was going to call people and have people. I bet you he never made the calls. What you bet? What you bet? Awesome. Bet you he never made the calls.
Call any of them?
I believe he did. I don't know what came of that, whether he
Just
ended up going out
saying.
with them or not. I honestly don't know.
This was all on the Sunday, Easter Sunday. She'd gone missing the night before.
This was the Monday.
This was the Monday.
Correct.
So he would have had Monday during the day, Tuesday, and then Wednesday he was arrested. He wouldn't have been able to get out. Yeah.
Not sure whether he made it out with anybody or not.
Did he ever say anything to you like, I'm not leaving here until I find her, or that I plan to search until I find her? Any comments like that?
Yeah, he did. That was his, I wished him the best of luck with his search. And he said, well, I'll be around. I'm not leaving until I find her.
He said that to you too. Not leaving till I find her.
Mm-hmm.
So were you surprised to find out yesterday he got on a plane and left?
I was, actually. There's a lot of things about this situation that surprised me. And that was definitely one of them.
He's very reserved. This guy is super reserved. I I hear his brain working behind his words. Like the stuff that's coming out of his mouth, he's being ultra graceful, but you can tell he doesn't believe it. You can tell this man does not believe what he's saying. He's showing grace. That's all he's doing.
There's a lot of things about this situation that surprised me, and that was definitely one of them.
Told you. Yeah.
Before we started this interview, we had breakfast here. It's such a lovely spot. Firefly Inn.
So they're at the Firefly Inn. Yeah, you know what? My mom called and said, "Hey, I need you." I would go to her bedside as well. But let's remember, he had a father that had 2 strokes and never once went to him. You have a mom here, and I don't want to say, one way or another, but everything that we're learning about is this is nothing new. His mom's been in the same condition. This is the difference. The same condition. Okay, her condition hasn't changed from everything that we're learning. So she's been in the same condition for a significant amount of time. So what makes her condition elevate now to him having to come home when he chose not to come home? It is my belief, now this is just my opinion, but it is my belief he's going to get his affairs in order. I think he wants to go see his mom his last time. He knows that it's only a matter of time. Anybody that does some stuff like this knows it's only a matter of time before somebody's knocking on the door. This lady is not in the water. We've been looking for this lady for today's the 14th day, right? Or the 13th day, however you want to look at it. But by this evening, it's going to be 14 solid days, 2 solid weeks. That means that if she had gases, if she's in that water dead, she's floating to the top. At this point, she would have been there a week ago. They should be able to find her body very quickly in this warm climate of the Bahamas. There should be no reason for her to take so long to surface. So she's not surfacing. So 3 different things could be happening here. She's obviously either not in the water, she's not where he says she should be, or she is somewhere somewhere in between those 2 options. I believe that if she's in the water, he went somewhere else, not in that area. And he would have had at least 3 to 4 hours of travel time that he could have done to put her wherever she needs to be. He can't do anything to help her now, but he can help his mother. I disagree. You have a woman of 25 years that you've lived with, your wife. Your mom raised you, right? Your mom raised you. When you have a situation like this, what do you do? Like I said, I would be out there looking for my significant other with my mom on the phone every single second. That's how I would handle it. This idea that I would run home and okay, so he ran home. Now he saw his mom. How long is it supposed to take him to get back to find his wife? Awesome. Now he's went home. He's checked on his mom. His mom is, aging. Right? So now he's seen her. Now he's gotten everything in order for her. How long should it take him to get back to the Bahamas? He should be on his way back to the Bahamas, right? Right? In the next few days. Wouldn't you agree, Awesome? He should be heading back to the island shortly. There is nowhere left to search. What do you mean there's nowhere left to search? You got to actually get out there to search first. Nobody searched. We've had no private searches out there. I can almost guarantee that. No private searches. We have her friends begging Brian to tell him what she was wearing so they can continue to search, but he won't talk to them. He won't tell them what she was wearing. Did she have shoes? What was her swimsuit? What did she have over her swimsuit? I disagree. I think that not sure why you are so anti common sense, but might be an ulterior motive. Awesome.
It is a lovely place.
Yeah,
most of the
time. They were here. Earlier in the day. Did anybody from here say anything about them?
No, I personally hadn't heard anything about their activities earlier on. I know that it was confirmed that they were at Abaco Inn that night before they left.
It was confirmed that they were at Abaco Inn. He says they were at Abaco Inn. So far, I've only been able to confirm he was at Abaco Inn. Nobody has seen Lynette at Abaco Inn. So, granted, there is a lot of cameras around there, so law enforcement may actually see her walking up to the bar with him, which is what I suspect. But considering that we have no independent eyewitnesses seeing her, I'm very cautious about this aspect. I'd like to see her walking. I'd like to know she's happy, healthy, and alive at the Abaco Inn. And so far, we don't have that confirmation.
Left. And that's honestly all I know. The rest is hearsay.
Again, I don't care what one independent person says. He's not police. Police, their mouth's not broken. Okay, we've heard squat from police. Let's be honest. So that's why I'm being very cautious about this. Police haven't said squat. He's search and rescue. He's not even law enforcement. So let's not get it twisted here. Okay, he's not part of the investigation. He's a witness to the crime, or a witness to statements that were made by a potential suspect. That's all he is so far. If you want to get down to the nuts and bolts of it, he is not law enforcement. He's not part of this investigation. Otherwise, he would be prohibited from talking about it.
Say I've heard they were here, but I haven't heard that directly from anybody that saw them here.
I've asked as many people.
What was that? Oh, let's go back 15 seconds.
That night before they left, and that's honestly all I know. The rest is hearsay. I've heard they were here, but I haven't heard that directly from anybody that saw them here.
I've asked as many people.
I haven't heard that directly from anyone that saw them here. I don't have any reason to lie about this man. I don't know this man. I don't have a bias to find him guilty for anything. I only want the truth. There's no reason why I would be saying this if I truly believed. If I did not believe this man was responsible, I would not be saying it. Okay? But nobody has independently seen this woman. And I want an independent sighting or proof, video proof that she walked up to that bar. That's what I want. If she was there, there should be no problem proving it. Just that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. If she was there, there should be no problem proving it. I want some confirmation. I don't want words. I want to see.
Oh, their activities earlier on. I know that it was confirmed that they were at Abaco Inn that night before they left, and that's honestly all I know. The rest is hearsay. I've heard they were here, but I haven't heard that directly from anybody that saw them here.
I've asked as many people as I can. They seemed somewhat nondescript, like they didn't make a huge impression. And sometimes in stories like this, we'll hear they had a huge fight, they were drunk, and he was mad or she was mad. But we haven't heard anything like that. Has anybody discussed that? Have you heard on the island that there was a particular behavior that was unique before she went missing?
I've heard a lot of rumors about a lot of things on this island, and about this case in particular, but I haven't heard that from anybody yet.
I haven't either, and I've spoken to people who were at the Abaco Inn. A guy last night who worked there that night and didn't even know that they were there,
Oh, wow! Okay, so nobody at the damn bar saw her. The only confirmation we've had this entire time, I want to make sure we're breaking it down for you, is the fact that they saw him and he went out of his way to make himself noticeable, profusely apologizing for not wearing a shirt in the Bahamas at a beach bar. Seems like it's, a run-of-the-mill thing that most people probably aren't wearing shirts at a beach bar with a pool and alcohol. So, again, wouldn't you think that somebody, we talked about, people going out, you get a little saucy. What are you doing? You're talking to the person next to you. You're playing the music. You're doing this. You're doing that. So I'm just, I'm trying to figure it out here because it sounds like we're hearing that these things are confirmed, but who was confirmed? So far, I'm only hearing confirmation he was there. I have seen no video evidence to prove that she was there at the island on the 4th as he says it. Law enforcement hasn't released any photo images of her walking up to the bar just to show the description of what she was wearing that day. We have no identification, even though there's all these videos all over this island. We have nothing that has been released by law enforcement pointing to her and saying, this is her on the day she disappeared. This is what she was wearing on the day she disappeared. This is how high she was. This is how her hair was tied back. This is what color her sunglasses were. Right? We see none of that. Law enforcement has not produced that to us. So all we have is the statements that Brian has made. And he's telling us that they went to all these different places, that they were on land all day. And I took that as the gospel until Ashley Banfield started going out there. And then I'm like, oh crap. She hasn't even found one person that saw Lynette at all of these bars. She's at the Firefly. We were told they were there for like 6 hours. And you're telling me nobody saw them at this bar, that they were there for 6 hours? And the only person that has acknowledged seeing them is the last bar that they went to, that they were only there for a couple hours, and they didn't see her. They only saw him buying 2 rounds of Bacardi Light. Again, I'm not saying that she wasn't alive that day. I would just like confirmation that she was. I think that with all the cameras around the bars, we should be able to have one lively photo or video of what she was wearing that day before she disappeared. I believe that New Life. He is a liar. Yep. This guy 100% guilty. He's so quickly even. Mike can't get off. Mike, our resident, he said confirmed. The rest is hearsay. Yeah, but what did they confirm? You're acting like he has no investigative hold into this case. And if you heard him, he said, I heard that it was confirmed. So he has not even confirmed the confirmation. You're holding on to something to somebody's statement that has no party to this investigation whatsoever. The only thing he did was deal with the boat, the dinghy, and this man. That's it. So he's not in the investigation. He's not an investigator. And he said, I heard the only thing is they were confirmed at the Abaco Inn. That's what he heard. And still, when you're dealing with telephone, that could even be. He might have been talking about just the dude. He was confirmed there. Even Ashley Banfield confirmed that Brian was at the bar because he purchased 2 rounds, 2 Bacardi Lights 2 times. She confirmed that. So I absolutely believe he has been confirmed to be at these bars. But with them being at bars all day and not one person can identify seeing Miss Lynette, I have a problem with that. Because like I said, if I'm out hanging out at bars all day, I promise you people are going to know that Bullhorn Betty was there. They're going to remember me, boo. Okay? They're going to remember me. Why? Because I'm just a lively person. Right? I want to talk to people. You next to me? Where are you from? How many kids you got? Really? They graduated college. I bet you that set you back an arm and a leg, didn't it? I'm all, chattery. Get me a little dose up. Right? I'm just right there. I'm your best friend. By the time I'm done, everybody's talking. Everybody knows me. So I just figured out what LE is. LO, law enforcement. Yeah, law enforcement. Yeah. When I say LE, yeah, that's law enforcement. We do a lot of stuff. So I just want to make sure that she's there, right? That's all. I think it's very problematic that we take one person's statement as the gospel. Yeah, there are some things confirmed, but we could be misunderstanding that, because again, he's not an investigator. He's only hearing from somebody that's from somebody, right? We don't even know where he's getting his information from. He did not disclose that. He just heard that they've been confirmed, and I do believe he is confirmed. I believe that Brian has been confirmed being at that bar, but with them only being at that Abaco Inn for a couple hours, nobody saw Lynette. I want to see Lynette at these bars. That's all I want, and I'll get off the subject. I want proof. That's what I want. I want receipts that she was alive on the 4th. We haven't gotten receipts that she was alive on the 4th. There's a lot of cameras. There should be no reason why law enforcement, LE, cannot provide us an image of her that day at one of these places that she was at. That's all I'm saying. All right, guys, I have got to go. I've got to get ready. I have an event today. I'm being picked up here at 8:45, and then we will not be doing a live most likely this evening. This will be our live for today. Tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., we will be back here to do a live all day Sunday. I've got some things. I'm making the big batch of seasoning so we can start getting that packaged and sent out to folks. And start getting some responses back in. Anyways, guys, that's all we have for today. God bless each and every one of you. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. And God bless you guys. We will see you first thing tomorrow morning. Have a great day.